Good afternoon. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast here at Jamer Living. I'm a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. Those of you joining us live, drop your comments and questions into the comment box, whether it's for me or my guest today. And you'll see me turn my head, checking to see if any of the comments or questions do come in. This week's guest is Maryellen Derr, a pastry chef and chocolatier who has successfully taken herself from her home kitchen baking cakes to her now highly successful cake pop national business, not just local here in the DMV and Philly area. And it is Maryellen's Cakepops. Her story is one of tenacity, definitely talent, and excellent taste, a story of tragedy to triumph. Let's bring in Maryellen.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. Other than doing the show today, what else is on your plate to do?
Oh, I got to go back to work after the show. Making some delicious treats for all the orders that have to be picked up tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Um, you learned to bake from your grandmother, your Nan, you call her,
Yes, my
right?
nanny.
Um, what was sort of her background? Where did the baking come in her life? Do you have any story behind that?
So my mom was one of seven. So my nanny took care of all the kids in the household and homegrown. She made all the dinners and everything like that, but she loved to bake. So as an infant, my nanny helped my mom take care of myself and my brother and all the other grandchildren. But she would drop us off in the morning and my nanny would care for us. But by the time my mom would get home from work, I was covered in flour all day, every day. And just from the love of it, from an infant in a car seat, just learning her craft and skill, making her homemade her pound cake. Everybody loved her pound cake, and her cheesecake is one of my personal favorites, which actually I don't make for anybody unless it's family. So all my clients, they get my recipe. They don't get hers because I won't give out that recipe or make it for too many people.
Right. Well, I didn't know what her background was, where she learned the baking, and if you knew.
No,
Um,
so anything that I know of, like she was self-taught.
okay, great.
The Betty
Uh,
Crocker recipe she would cut out of magazine articles, things like that. Like I have her recipe book that it's all her handwriting, all the recipe clip outs. So that's where I know that she knew it from.
yeah. Well, I said that you went from tragedy to triumph. In starting your business, you had a couple things come up with your stepfather's health, your mother's health, and you went from the kitchen to a building. And what you started growing, I mean, people knew, I mean, very popular. You did the three-dimensional cakes, you did the cupcakes, you did the cake pops. When did that germ for an idea for the cake pops come from, or what precipitated it? Well, I think I lost Mary Ellen in some way. She froze, and maybe she will think to click out and come back in. So while we're waiting for Mary Ellen to try to come back in, let me tell you who's going to be on the show in the next couple of weeks. Next week, it's going to be Nevin Martell. He's a writer, photographer, and focuses in on food, travel, and foraging. His work has appeared in the Washington Post, the Boston Globe, US Today, National Geographic, and many other publications, and author of 8 books, including the Red Truck Bakery Public Cookbook and the Founding Farmers Cookbook. We're going to have the chief honchos on from Maryland Agriculture the following week. We're going to be talking about the Chesapeake Bay and farming and food to, farm to table. And after that, I have Kathy Gold, who is president of La Dame Escoffier International. And August 15th will be Chef Anita Lowe, Michelin star chef from New York, and thrilled we just firmed that up. So we hope that you can stay tuned and watch and join us in these shows. In the interim, let me talk a little bit more about, there you are.
I'm back.
Good,
Sorry.
good. That's all right. I think I was asking before we went sort of, you froze up and we had the technical problem. What was the impetus for you to stick that stick in the cake pop?
Everybody at that time, if you think about it, it looks like a truffle, and truffles were very big about 13 years ago, and they're still very big now. I didn't want it to be overshadowed with that. So therefore, I put the stick in it, and being that it's equivalent, each cake pop is equivalent to a regular size cupcake, I thought it'd be a better way to have fun with the kids or any adult as a party treat. A lot of people do like to hold them inverted. I like to have them flat so they stand like this. So you can easily pick them up off of the plate and then have your treat. So you're not worrying about a vessel or anything like that. So it's the ease. I like to make everything as easy as possible and then with getting a smile on everybody's face. So
Well,
that's how the stick came about.
It's a cupcake to go.
Essentially, yes.
Right. You take it, whatever, and enjoy it. How did you manage, because you have a nice size cake on it, like a cupcake? And these are just questions that flow into my head. It doesn't mean they make any sense. How was that adaptation to keep that cupcake, which is a dense, moist cake, on the stick? How do we keep it that it's not
falling off?
Yeah.
So by making it the cylinder ball, it has to be in a sphere. It can't be a different shape because you're going to have the offset of weight in it. You actually have to adhere the stick with chocolate in the center. Now,
okay.
My cake pops are moist and dense. It has all the components. If you took a regular cupcake and smushed it all the way down, that's everything that's in the inside. So by adhering the chocolate to the stick and inserting it, that already is step one. And then the outside chocolate infuses all of the moisture to stay inside the ball, and then it keeps everything intact. And therefore, you can add the pretty decorations.
Okay. Which you're very good at.
I try.
Yeah. There's so much. I have 2 pages of notes. So
just rattle them off. I'm ready.
You're ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, let's see. You started, let's go back to the background, in the kitchen, baking. This was not your goal. You were going to school for occupational therapy.
Yes.
And even though you love to bake and people came to you and you were doing all this, I think it was your loss of your stepfather.
It was. So in college, my stepfather had fallen ill and I returned back home to help my mother care for him. And during that, I started all of this when I was 17. I graduated high school a little early. So it was my freshman year into college. Somebody had asked me to make a Winnie the Pooh cake, and that's actually what started it all. I was working and going to school, and then I was like, well, this is fun and creative. I've never been officially taught. Everything that I do is a self-taught. Like, I've learned everything myself. I credit myself with actually being very visually driven. So if I look at something, I can construct it. I don't know. It's a wonderful gift that I have. It's an engineering head that I may have, putting things together, taking them apart. I love it. Sometimes you find me standing in the Home Depot aisles, constructing internal parts to make cakes and all kinds of fun things. But that's what I love. It's my passion and it's the art behind it. Yes, I make delicious desserts. I'm actually a better cook than a baker, and I'm admitting it. artistically, I love doing from the cakes, and that's where it started. And then when I had moved back home to help my mom take care of my stepfather, that's when I started doing in-home baking for special clients. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And then about 15 years ago, I had married, I'm divorced. With that, I looked at my ex-husband at the time and I said, I'm going to open a bakery. It's time. Like it just, when the time is right for things. And I took the leap and I opened the brick and mortar, the retail location. From that, I opened the doors to so many other things. Being the baker for the Orioles, the Phillies, the Flyers, the Eagles, all those wonderful accounts, all of those parties that came in, from private parties to extremely elaborate things. I loved it. And anybody who came in my front door, they became family to me. So I'm making a celebration for them, which made my heart sing.
Was there, to open a business, and I know now that you were in brick and mortar store location, and recently you had that building sold out from under you,
right?
And you had to find a facility. Is there a mentor? Who did you turn to? Because your talent is visual and things like that, and I know you said there's an engineering part, but there's equipment to buy. And there's shipping to figure out. And were there any mentors or people that helped you along the way? Because if you did all of this, I bow down to you.
I always knew what I wanted. And of course, I've leaned on my family and my friends, my core village, and we would sit around tables and we would figure this packaging looks better, that packaging looks good. I have to give a lot of credit to many people in my life who have helped throughout this journey, and the list is long and they know who they are. And I couldn't be where I am today without them. And everybody has had a very integral part within the last 27 years of doing this.
Well, you ship nationally. That's not an easy thing to do, especially if you're shipping something that's chocolate.
Yes.
And that takes special packaging, which I'm sure you have. You are, before I forget, okay, getting a little feedback. Let's see. All right. So there are a couple things that we really want to hit upon. You've had a great article in a New York magazine. You were a cover, told your whole story. It helped me out a lot with my questions. And you were just on local TV in the Philly area talking about the Eagles and what you're doing and partnering with them for autism. So I don't want to forget that. That's really integral, and how philanthropic you are with everything that you do. So let's talk about the Eagles and the other philanthropic paths that you've taken. Go for it.
So about 2 months ago, we sat down with the Eagles Autism Foundation and their complete staff and committee and went to them with the idea of how can we raise more money? How can we get our sweet treats that are eye appealing? They could be a gift, they could be individually sold. How can we help you make your day a little sweeter for your organization? So we went to them, we sat down, had a meeting. They loved it out of the gate. I brought them just some classic flavors. However, I had designed a few different styles. We then inadvertently changed things. They picked the flavors that they like, they designed them. And then here comes their 10-piece collection. It launched about a month and a half ago, so you can get it on our website. 50% of the proceeds go back to the organization, and you also get a commemorative pin with each kit. And coming this September, which is now active on our website, I made the deal a little sweeter for the organization. Not only do you get a 10-piece collection for the Eagles Autism Foundation, we're also doing a game day package because it will be football season. Plus, I make what are called Aunt Mare's Blissfully Sweet cookies. They're cookies inside of cookies. You can find them on our website as well. So you're getting all three of those in one package deal for $99 plus shipping. And the Eagles Autism Foundation is getting 50% proceeds back. That special is running until I decide to end it, when I want to do another incentive or another fun thing for them. But all the shipping for that, because it's hot right now, we do not ship chocolate from May to the beginning of September. You can pick up things locally or we can have them delivered to you. But for the shipping purpose nationally, just to ensure the product and the quality and everything in between, I don't want to have anybody disappointed. So we're not shipping during the heat. So September, the shipment will go out for everybody who does order them, and you'll have them in time for football.
Right. So we have that. And Sunday, QVC, Christmas in July.
Yes.
But let me go back to the QVC story, that they approached you a ways back.
10 years ago.
10 years ago, and it just wasn't right, and you said no.
I said no.
You said no. There was a lot going on. Your mother was suffering Alzheimer's, dementia, and there was a lot going on in your life, and you said no. You turned your back on it.
I did.
And okay, COVID comes in. That's even worse. I think you were left alone.
Taking a deep breath as you say that.
You were left alone. Your staff was gone, and you managed to make it through even without government funding. You didn't really have any help, but you used your noodle.
I did use my noodle.
You used your noodle, and here we are, 2022, and QVC comes knocking on the door. And you did Christmas in July was the first time. Am I correct?
Yes. So my launch was last July for Christmas in July. Correct.
Okay. How much product did you make? I want to just give an idea to people. Can you give me some idea how much you made for that event?
So for our first airing, we sold out in 7 minutes. So we're hoping for another sellout this Sunday, which I'm pretty excited for. Unfortunately, during my very first shipment, there was a destruction. And with that destruction, not only were about 1,700 to 1,800 people dissatisfied because they got very broken product, I wasn't going to sleep until it was fixed. I pulled the shipment that was going out later that afternoon. As soon as I found out that the first shipment went south, I made my village text message to about 20 of my closest, nearest, and dearest and loved ones, and everybody was there. We unloaded an entire refrigerated truck. We unpackaged everything. We repackaged it. After, in the parking lot of my brick and mortar store, you were seeing me punt kick boxes from one end to the other to make sure we got it right, that there's no package that goes through any transportation system that is gently handled, as we all know. So I wanted to ensure that what was leaving could be to the utmost spec of being delivered to as best perfection as possible. So I did do that. Inadvertently, we reshipped out those original 1,700 units to the clients who didn't receive them well. And that's something I did. Like, I was like, I need to resend this. They need to have a good experience. This is who I am. I will not have unhappy. It's just not part of who I am. So I'll work until it's done. So at the end result from the November and December shipments as a whole, we were close to 10,000 packages. And when I say 10,000 packages, these are, and I'm going to show you, this is one package. This is a 10 kit. Oh, there's the camera. Here it is.
There you go.
This is a 10 count kit. Each of the QVC packages, you get 2 10 count kits. So everything that you're seeing, so when I say 10,000, that's 100,000 balls and Cakepops. You got to double everything. So when that destruction happened, We made 74,000 cake pops within 5 days. So there
I
was a 42-day period during that time, live and learn. Look, if something doesn't go wrong, then it's perfect out of the gate, but nothing is perfect, and we all know that in life. So you have to
I
fix some things and you have to struggle and build yourself back up. And did I want to throw in the towel every once in a while? Sure did. But I was like, no, I know this is right. This is where I need to be. And this is what my dream and goal is. So I'm not going to stop until I achieve what I'm looking for.
I said you were tenacious in the intro. Let's see, we've had things come in. Sarah says, okay, Kathy, how lovely. Um, and Sarah, she was tagging someone. One came in here. Do you find it more fun to walk the aisles of Home Depot or a grocery store?
That's a really good question. Definitely Home Depot. And the reason I'll say this is when I go to a supermarket or a market, I only walk the perimeter of the store. I don't go up and down the aisles. So I'm not too big of a shopper. So when I do go into stores, I like to get in and out. I'm very quick. But Home Depot, I can have my wheels spin on like until I'm like, oh, we can build this and I could do that. And all of a sudden a plumbing piece could be in the center of a cake. And there's all kinds of fun things that are workable. So I'm a hammer and nails kind of girl.
Well, it sounds it. It sounds it. I don't know if you remember in the intro, I'm a frustrated baker.
I heard.
It's a science, and things are going good. I can do this and works out, and then I have another one. It just doesn't. Um, I'm assuming that Nanny didn't work with fondant.
No,
No. So
no.
where did this ability to work with fondant, to those people who don't understand, it's the sweet sugar icing on a lot of these three-dimensional cakes, that's pliable and shaped and paint, and you can paint it. Where did your knowledge on that come from?
Um,
Self-taught?
Self-taught. I always loved art class for obvious reasons. I was never big into the clay and the pottery and all of that. I was more of the photography and the wood shops and that avenue. When it came down to working with fondant, I introduced that into my repertoire when I opened the brick and mortar. So about 14, 15 years ago now. Um, it's delicious to some people and it's not to others. For a decorator, it is just a seamless surface to work with. And in my opinion, it's edible Play-Doh. So if you worked with Play-Doh and you made fun things, guess what? You can work with fondant. It's exactly what it is. It's just edible. But creating the structures or the figurines, you just need to understand gravity. You need to understand weight density, because everything, just like a normal body, weight is distributed and goes to your feet. So it's the same thing with fondant. So if you build something, it's a very it's a wet product to work with. And it turns into like it'll turn straight into sugar and dissolve.
Right.
But you need to let it dry out. What a lot of people don't realize is when working with fondant, for some of these crazy cakes that you see, you can't order them last minute. Some bakers can do it. Look, I do the Hail Mary for a lot of my customers, and they're like, we know you can do it. I know I can do it, but it's very stressful. You need to actually take fondant and you need to do the physical structures and let them dry out for days, for absolute
Yeah.
days, so that they hold their structure in, putting it onto the material.
Right. Okay, I think we froze up again. So, while we're doing, there you are. Bring her back in. Okay, she'll clip back in. I've I I've told this story before, just baking. And a lot of our guests that have been on the show and who are knowledgeable cooks and bakers, and I asked them what their culinary fail was, and many have substituted salt instead of sugar. So we don't know, even the best of us can make these mistakes. And the information is come up, on the comment sections. It's Mary Ellen Cakepops.com, and it's Mary Ellen's with a plural.com. And she is Cakes and Candies by Me on Facebook, and Mary Ellen's Cake Pops on Instagram. So do give her a follow. And I'm just looking here. What else did I want to cover? She does so many flavors. I've been told that not only does she have this great technical skill, engineering skill, she is amazing with flavors and putting them together. And hopefully she'll come back in here in a moment or two. I don't know what the problem's been. There she is.
I'm back.
You're back. Funny, I thought you were Mary Ellen.
But I'm back.
I don't know what our technical problem's been today, but glad to have you back. I was saying that I was told that not only do you have these architectural skills, that you are a genius at flavors, that you can pick out flavors. Now, is it because you have a heightened sense of smell? Because that's really where most things come.
It is. So here's a fun little fact. When I was 2 years old, I was clinically diagnosed I'm cross-eyed. So as we all know, one of the senses that weakens, something else picks up. So I believe, and it's just my intuitive spirit, that because my eyes, as I've gotten older, my height of taste buds have just heightened. Um, I'm not a big per se wine drinker, or I may not like this or that. And I actually am anaphylactic. I'm allergic to coconut. So I can smell coconut a mile away. But sometimes when, for example, wine, when I drink it, I can taste all the notes and the flavors in it. And then for some reason, have this ability to take that compost and say, it would taste good with this, and this. And I'm not a sweet eater. There's another fun fact about me. I don't eat desserts. I don't do the sugar. The sugar gives me a headache. It's not that I don't like it. Sure. Will I eat a cannoli here and there because it's got cheese in it? Absolutely. Or tiramisu because it has espresso in it? Absolutely. But I do. I just partnered up with Berganti Wine, and he has this white wine. It's on the drier side. And doing the tasting in collaboration with that, I paired it with white chocolate and a white cake and had him try it. He's like, it's good, but it's not robust enough. Okay, fine. So in his kitchen, I opened up his pantry and pulled out the lemon pepper flake. And I said, now put your finger in here and try that. And he's like, but how did you? And I was like, you just got to trust the process. I don't have a direct answer, but I love it. So even going into a restaurant with food, I'm like, well, that would be really good together, or that won't be good together. So it's a lovely gift that I have.
Well, and all your customers benefit by it.
Yes.
Let me get to the questions, the final questions, but I just want to remind people that it's Mary Ellen's Cakepops.com. And if you can turn into QVC on Sunday from 12 to 4, and you can see her present. And you have other shows lined up with QVC, don't you? Something for
I
the
will
holidays?
after Sunday. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
so we do a
great.
show at a time, and then it goes from there. So all of your support on Sunday would be greatly appreciated. And those, if you purchase them on Sunday, they get shipped out in November and December. So you could do gift packages, corporate gifts, family holiday parties. They'll be there in time for all of your holiday festivities.
All right, great. Are you ready for the final questions?
I'm ready.
Okay. If you wake up tomorrow with a new talent, what would it be?
Oh. I think if I had to wake up with a new talent tomorrow, I would have to add being a photographer around the world.
Okay. All right.
If I had to add something to the repertoire, but I want, some people think back, like, would you have changed anything or would you have done anything differently? I wouldn't. I'm very grateful in my very headstrong, driven attitude. As a little girl, as some people like to hear it, some people don't like to hear it, but I will forever be true to myself. I always wanted my name to be on everybody's kitchen table like Aunt Jemima, and that is my goal.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Sarah sent in a note, says your ideas for flavors. What is the most requested in your collection?
Cake pop collection during the holiday time, it's gingerbread. During the fall, it is the caramel apple. Spring, it's lemon raspberry. Summertime is s'mores and funfetti. And then the new one that everybody loves, but a lot of people don't like the peanut butter in the collection boxes. So you can get the peanut butter collection on our website directly is our vanilla chocolate chip peanut butter. It tastes like a famous little cake that all of us in the Philadelphia region know and trademark. You said it, I didn't.
Tasty cake, Tandy takes. Got it. Got
You
it.
got it. And it is my brother, for him to say that it is his absolute favorite, he has threw the gauntlet down and he said it is the number one that you've ever made. So it's fun. It's always fun and creative on coming up with new flavors. And I could, just like the cupcakes, when I was doing that all the time in the bakery, like I had up to 500 different flavors. So the cake pops are just the same thing. So this year in the Christmas collection, we have new ones. We have a Yule log. We have cherries Jubilee. I have mint twist. These are 3 new to the collection. Gingerbread is back, and because it was the crowd favorite last year, so there's 2 of them in the collection. But it's always fun, and it was a duel to pick the flavors that we wanted to do for even the Christmas collection.
Yeah. Great. If you could go back and give your 18-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be?
Take more time for myself. Take more time for myself. That would be the one advice, because I have such a big heart and I'm a giver and I love it. That's actually what makes me happy. But like looking back at it, I cared in my in my early 20s and my late teens. I was a caretaker for my family. So looking back, I just wish I may have focused a little more on
Taking care of yourself.
Happy. Yeah. And at this point in life, I now know what does make me happy, and I'm ready for that ride too.
Okay. Just to let people know that in the Philadelphia, Chester area, on the website, you can find where the cake pops are being retailed.
Yes.
So you can see where they're being retailed in that Philly. You're at the shore, aren't you, Cape May?
Yes. So Berganti Wine has their new location in Cape May Courthouse. You can get their wine-infused cake pops and our traditional collections available there. You can also get it at the Bright Spot in Sea Isle. In the Pennsylvania side of the area, a cut above in Newtown Square. You also have Pizza Stop in Collegeville. You have Saloon 151, which is in downtown Westchester. Brewed Awakening, which is a coffee shop. Cake pops go amazing with coffee as well. Little sweet treat. You also can get them at Sky Zone in Glen Mills and Sky Zone in Chalfont, Pennsylvania.
They can find all these locations on your website.
Yes, and you can also order directly from us and arrange either local delivery and or pickup at our production facility.
Great. What was your ultimate culinary fail? Or are we going to go back to QVC? Did that Did that?
Well, no, because I already discussed that. I think that was probably the greatest fail ever in my career. But I will say this, there was one wedding cake, 14 years ago. I had 7 weddings that day on a hot Saturday. It was in July, and the country club calls me, and I'm at another site about an hour away. We have a problem. You don't like those calls, not for the baker. One of the helpers putting out the tables and things like that, one of their staff, unfortunately didn't lock the table legs. Needless to say, I was on my way back to that country club. The kitchen was about 105 degrees. The chocolate was melting on the tables. I had to redo the cake in the freezer, and I got it back out. Well, they had starfishes for the top as toppers with a bride veil and a top hat. Well, all of a sudden, I now made them seahorses. So when the bride and groom, I actually had to find the photographer. I was like, "Did you ever get a picture of the cake originally?" And he's like, "We did." I'm like, "Did anybody tell the bride that this happened? Because her seeing me at 9 o'clock at night at your wedding is not a good sign." So we walked her back to the cake, and I was like, "Look, they may not be starfish now, but they're seahorses." And it was now this whole new like it was a sandcastle by the time it was the only way to fix it. But like looking back, as much as it was a triumph of getting it fixed and everybody to be happy, like I can laugh at it now. Like it was just another experience in the belt.
Right. What's the best bite you've had all week?
Baked clams.
Baked clam?
Baked clams and scallops. They are my favorite. Second to a filet wrapped in bacon.
Okay, we got that down. The 2 musts that you must have in your refrigerator.
Coffee flavor, pure protein shakes, and cucumbers. They're the 2 things that are in my personal refrigerator.
Okay. What didn't I ask you that I probably should have?
You started briefly on my background of my family. You spoke about tragedies, tragedy to triumph. I will say this, in all of the years that I have done this, people and staff have come and go. The talents have been there. And I am truly blessed to have had each of them, good, bad, or indifferent, whether they went on to different careers, whether they were college kids, interns, bakers, pastry chefs. Every one of them were hugely talented and amazing at getting a job done. And I never actually have the opportunity to thank everybody who has been involved, whether you were on staff, off of staff, whether you were part of events. None of this that I have come to full circle and flourish and driving up this mountain that I'm driving up would be possible if they weren't part of it. So no matter what, no matter where they are now or if they're still involved, I am beyond blessed to have them have been part of this journey because I haven't done it all by myself. I will never take full credit for this.
Yeah. Well, I think it's lovely that you're taking the time to thank those who have worked with you, and I'm sure you make it a great opportunity should they come work for you as well. I want to cover one thing, evil sweetness. Quick talk about that, and I'm going to let you go. I know you have to get back to work. What's evil sweetness?
So evil sweetness came about 10 years ago when I was challenged in a chili cook-off. I was told, "You're a female, you're a baker, there's no way you can win." Something that I think everybody has figured out about me. If I want something, I'm going to achieve it. So in creating this chili, I made a candied jalapeno cheddar bacon cupcake over chili. And the secret ingredient was raw ghost pepper honey. And I have 1 jar still remaining from 10 years ago because raw honey never goes bad. I'm very afraid to open that jar because it may kill me. But in creating the recipe, I was like, it's hot, it's spicy, it's
Sweet.
actually sweet. Um, it's who I am, is evil sweetness. So I came up with the brand, I came up with the logo. It's actually really who Maryellen is evil sweetness. And with that, you will find starting in September, 6 pieces of the Evil Sweetness clothing line will be dropped, and you will have it available to purchase online for the holiday season. It is one of my prouder moments of taking something that I've worked endlessly in creating all of these wonderful things, that I spun it into creating another avenue that keeps growing for the Maryellen's corporation. You know what I mean? So it's kind of fun. And with even the double stuffed cookies for the Aunt Mares, I'm not a parent, unfortunately. I wasn't blessed, but I'm an amazing auntie. And everybody calls me Aunt Mare. So why not? The kids love the cookies. Everybody loves the cookies. It just is all fitting.
Right. Okay. I just saw something else come up.
Sure.
Somebody said Savannah Bee makes a hot honey. Just saying.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Well, I'm always up for new things.
Well, Maryellen, I thank you so much for joining us. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we made it through.
We did.
And thank you for joining us. And I'm going to let you get back to work.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute delight.
It was for me as well. Thank you. Okay, everyone. I already told you who's going to be on next week. Just a quick reminder, it will be Nevin Martell, a writer photographer who focuses in on food, traveling, and foraging. He's so entertaining, so knowledgeable. I find all writers just to be fascinating. So do tune in. Don't miss out. As always, you can feel free to reach me at my email, which is food@jmoreliving.com, or at Dara Cooks Instagram on Instagram, or my Facebook page, The Food Enthusiast. All shows are immediately archived in video form on J More Living's Facebook page and jmoreliving.com. We truly appreciate it when you share our show with friends and family. Feel free to go back into our archives and enjoy past shows. May your plates always, always remain full. Thank you for tuning in.